This is the story of a Ghanaian brother who lives 30 years in Europe and lost everything in Africa. So yesterday I met this Ghanaian brother in the city where I am currently going to work here in Germany. And once he saw me, he said, "Hey, you look like a Ghanaian, where are you from?" I said, "Yeah, I get that a lot. I am from West Africa as well, but the Gambia." And then we started talking, we also exchanged numbers as well. He was telling me his stories, he said that he lives here for 30 years, and in all these 30 years, he worked so hard, just to be able to provide something for his family back home there in Ghana. Remind you that, if you live here in Europe, you have siblings back home, your parents or even other family members, it is kind of like our tradition as Africans, you are going to do everything for them, which includes, like, if someone is sick, their medication is going to be on you. To buy a bag of rice is going to be on you, which means feeding the whole family. Buying a sugar is going to be on you. A cup of tea is going to be on you. Literally everything. Not only that, but also paying for the school fees of your siblings as well, and even other family members, which are not quite related to you as well. So this is how, like, most of the times the life there in Africa is. So he worked so hard, for all these 30 years, just to be able to do something. And then he also built a house for his family. Remind you that not his own house, but this is a house for his family members, which means like a family house. So to start with this family house, he built a family house, where he lives, where his family and the siblings also lives as well. Then after these 30 years, some of his siblings were even married, they got their own kids, and then he went back home. So within these 30 years, because he was not able to go back home because he does not have any document, so which means it will be hard for him to even know what is going on there back at home, even though that he bought a house. From papers, they just bought him a house, the money he spent, and then he also built a family home as well. Then after these 30 years now, he didn't have any bank account over there in Ghana. Yes, he gave money for them to buy him a house, and they also said that they did that as well, so which most of them also tell him about that. And then so after these 30 years, he just went back home, but he later found out that first they only built the family home where his siblings are living, which means they didn't buy him, he himself, any house aside, even he paid for that. So now here comes the most interesting part. He went back home, he didn't tell his family that he got a document. He just tell them that, look, I think I am now getting old. With all these 30 years, everything I have worked for, I just spent it here, so I was deported back home, and then, but I am also not angry about me being deported back home, because at least now I could come back and see my family. Not only that, but I can also get married as well, to have kids, because he's not married, all his younger brothers, most of them get married. They are living in family homes, enjoying his bag of rice every day. So once he just went back home, and then they know that, okay, he's been deported, he said that he will be sitting sometimes, at home there. Then you will see some of the family members, they will be talking about him that he is in Europe for 30 good years, He didn't even have his own bank account. Guys, could you imagine? And then these siblings, you are the one who paid their everything for their marriage, because marriage ceremony in Africa, you would have to pay something to the bridegrooms, to the parents as well. To the bride or bridegroom, how do you call it anyway? So you will just have to pay something there, for the parents, for the whole marriage. He is the one who is responsible for all those ones from all of his siblings. So by the way, behind me here is a jail. So if you commit a crime, they just put you here in this small city. So yeah, anyway, and here is a courthouse. So I'm just walking on the main street here in this small city on my way going to work. So yeah, then after all of these years, then they will be talking about that, like he didn't have any bank account, like after 30 years of his time here in Europe, he didn't have like any house of his own. But what happened is that the money he gave up to the family, or he sent to family, to buy he himself like a land or a house, they didn't do that. They just used that money for their own private things, like whatever they just want to use this money for. Then what, the man is not someone like who is aggressive or whatsoever, because he knows that he is not being deported. He just want to know what the family thinks. Then after 2 months of him staying there in Africa, he now see the true color of his family members. By the way, here is a bank. I need some cash so that I will be able to withdraw money. And here, this is how the banks here in Europe looks like. I mean, this is one of the banks. Because here you can just send money to people, and then over there you can just withdraw cash if you want to. So let me just withdraw some cash first, guys, and then where's my card? Yeah, I think this one should also work. So let's see. So once you do this thing, English, cash withdraw, 20 euros. So now I will have to give my pin. Let's see if I have enough money in my bank account, because with this MasterCard, I mean, I have never withdrawn money from this card, so hopefully I'm going to have enough money. Oh, okay, it works. It works. I now have 20 euros. All right. So yeah, so this is how it went on with this Ghanaian brother. Then now, so after him staying 2 months there in Ghana, so the family members who are there back home, they even used to backbite him, by simply saying that, he is not a man enough, because he wasn't able to build any house for himself, even though he sent all of his money to them. Some were also saying he was deported back home as well. I mean, which obviously he was just working for them as his family members. So after staying there for 2 months, then he decided to tell them that everything that they were talking about him, he just sat everyone down, including his parents and his siblings. But first he said that I told my siblings that they are not grateful for whatever reason, because he was the only ones who helps them when they needed him the most, but most of them are ungrateful to him. He was the one who gave all of them money to get married. He built the family houses and everything. So now, simply because he was deported, they didn't respect him. Not only that, they are even showing him disrespect and also backbiting him for saying that he is not man enough, because he was in Europe for so many years. He was not even able to build a house for himself, while in reality he also he sent a lot of money, but they just misused this money for their own gain, which means they only use this money for themselves. I mean, they only build the family homes, but they didn't care about his other home, because he was here for 30 good years. Just remember that. And yeah, that's it. Then he just sat them down, talked to them about their ungratefulness and things. So yeah, and that was it. He just sat them, all of them down, by telling them that they are ungrateful for the things that he was able to do for them for the last 30 years, but none of them care in reality. And yeah, so he also told them that he is not being deported back from Europe, but he just wanted to go back home and see and spend a time also there for the next 2 months, just to see how are the family members are going to react. So you might wonder, why am I sharing this story with you? By the way, I am at the station here. I'm just waiting for my train to go to work, so it's too noisy. So he just sat them down just to tell them that, because he just want to see who is who within the family, after spending 30 years, no child at home, like no kids, he's not married, no bank account, no nothing. Then all of his brothers or his siblings, they were all married, Remind you that from his money, from the money that like he pays to the family members, this is the money that they all used to marry, support them, give them food as well. But after all of this, it's kind of like he didn't get like any respect from the family members. Yeah, so then he just sat them down like and tell them that he was not being deported, but like he just wanted to know who is who within the family. And then he also just went on, bought his tickets and came back. So when he just came back here to Europe, now the moral of the story is that like once he just came back to Europe, he said, I just caught them like a financially off, and the reason behind that is that because you cannot keep on supporting people like who are not loyal to you in life, And the second moral story of this story is that like, or the second thing about this story is that like, if you are also living abroad, you will just have to remember that family is always very, very important, like regardless, but do not help the family and also forget about yourself, because the same siblings that you are helping, they are the ones who are going to disrespect you in the future in case of your deportations and things like that. And then we also have so many young people, who will fail to this type of like criminals by selling drugs. At the end of the day, if they are being deported back home, the same family they are sacrificing for, these are the same people who are just going to disrespect them more by saying that you were in Europe for so many years, But while they all forgot that all those 10 euros, 20 euros, like 5 euros you were sending to them, if you should have put all of this money together, this will just change your life forever. So this is what like most of them do not know. But yeah, this is just the story, and then like I just thought like let me just share these things with you guys. So that's it, So hopefully you guys will just learn something from this, and then if you do, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. So by the way, I am right now at the station, and then on this train here, like you have students which are inside the train, So this is how students goes to school here in Germany. It's like they don't wear any uniforms, so it's like they don't have any uniform on them, and this is how like people just go to school in the morning. So likewise, if you are in other countries, whereby you have people wearing uniforms, for example, in my own country as well, But yeah, this is how like people just go to school here. And then so that's just the story. I'm going to see you guys very soon. So hopefully you guys learn something from this, and then if you do, then you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel and also give us a thumbs up as well. Then I will see you guys soon.